plugged in there. That's charging. Excellent. I think we're on. Let's see. Go back and find chat. Looks like I'm on. Excellent. We'll see who's the first to show up here. Well. If anybody's tuning in for the first time, let me say hello. If you're watching this in the VOD later or something, welcome to Paleontologizing. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I'm out here in western Wyoming, digging up some dinosaurs live on stream, thanks to our satellite internet setup there. Off the grid stream out in the beautiful and austere western Wyoming desert. Yeah. And hello, Dr. Tara. Welcome. Subsonic Flights, Dr. Irrefutable, Esther the Dreamer. How are you doing, everyone? Welcome back to Paleontologizing. Just gonna wait for some more people to trickle in here, and then we'll get back to work. I'm gonna be jacketing a hadrosaur limb bone today, and you'll get to see how that works. So, pretty excited about that. And hey, Omar Luna, welcome back to you. It's good to see you. And Esther, thank you for the 6 months of Prime subs. I really appreciate that, Esther. Thank you. Good stuff. Avalon Angels, how are you doing? Welcome to Paleontologizing. And seriously crazy, yes indeed. Yeah. Just a few minutes, I'll go show you the quarry over there, where we've got what is almost certainly a new species of duckbill dinosaur. From here in the Almond Formation, late Cretaceous of western Wyoming. Opreskjelbjanen says hello from Czech Republic. Well, welcome, Upskr. Good to have you here. I'm sure I butchered your name, but it's good to have you here. Welcome to western Wyoming. Yeah, this is where the action is right now. But yeah, Neil, how are you doing? Welcome. And Seriously Crazy says, wait, we're still finding new species? Absolutely, yeah. Only a fraction of the number of dinosaur species that ever lived have been discovered and dug up, studied, and described and published. We're still finding new... Shoot, in 2020 we had 48 new species of dinosaur named. Not all of which were valid, but yeah. New species of dinosaur are published all the time, usually multiple every month. So yeah, Arle, how are you doing? Welcome. Good to see you. And Claire Burr, I still need to reply to your email. Shoot, I've been so busy, as you could probably imagine. But always making sure I take time to stream whenever possible. I was not able to stream yesterday because Ethan had to take the truck back to Salt Lake City, and yeah, we had to walk out to our field site yesterday several miles and do some prospecting. So we were moving too fast to do a live stream then. And yeah, I walked more than 10 miles yesterday, which is doesn't seem like that much, but when you're at 7,500 feet of elevation or whatever we're at here now, it feels like a lot. So yeah. And yeah, we did have tornadoes in Wyoming yesterday. Luckily, those missed us. Those were to the west of us, I think. But yeah, we saw that storm system coming through. It was just coming along through there. And luckily that missed us. But yeah. And it is very thin air here, Claire Burr. Yes, indeed. You know, I'm used to living at sea level back in the San Francisco Bay Area. You know, so yeah, this takes some getting used to. When I did that stream from Nevada the first night, I had to take some aspirin because, man, I just had an altitude headache. But my body has certainly adjusted since. So yeah. But yeah. And the view was pretty cool, Claire. Yeah, like lightning and everything, and luckily, we'd already gotten finished prospecting a big area before the storm hit, and then we kind of went running. And then it passed, and then we kind of doubled back, went around the other side, and prospected all that. Didn't find anything all day, except for like some oyster shells and some other mollusk fossils, some fossil wood. I found a couple little tiny scraps of bone which didn't turn into anything. So yeah, a day like that, you might say that it's kind of a bust, but then you realize, hey, we prospected that whole area, we can cross that all off the map now, and it's a positive development. Yeah. So yeah, good stuff. Well, this doesn't actually show me how many viewers I have. Darn. Maybe if I open up the other one, I've got a third-party app called Dank Chat, and that seems to work pretty well. Yeah. But yeah. Welcome everybody to Paleontologizing. Again, if you're here for the first time, I'm glad you're here. This is going to be a unique kind of stream. I'd say this is a unique channel. I hope I don't sound like I'm tooting my own horn too much. But yeah, doing paleontology here on Twitch and streaming live from the field through the use of a satellite dish and router. So yeah, the signal is being beamed up into space right now and then back down to the Twitch servers, so pretty cool. Yeah. And holy moly, Jay Streezy, welcome to Paleontologizing. Hello everybody, how are you doing? It is great to have you here. And yes, live dinosaur dig, yes indeed, Danger Tater. Thalo, how was Streezy's stream? I hope it was really good. I've seen him before going through, I think, Vietnam a couple years ago. That was a ton of fun. Anyway, welcome everybody. To repeat myself further, my name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. You probably know already that a paleontologist is a scientist who studies fossils. I work on dinosaur fossils in particular, hence dinosaur paleontologist. Normally I'm streaming from my office back home in the San Francisco Bay Area, but right now I'm out in the field digging dinosaurs. We've got what is probably a new species of duckbill dinosaur right around the corner, and so we're going to be digging that up, and I'm going to be showing you how we create a plaster jacket, which is like a protective cocoon that we put around the bones in order to help preserve them so we can bring them back to the laboratory safe and sound. So I'm going to be walking you through that whole process, doing that live. It'll be almost like a cooking show or something, except we are out here in the wilds of western Wyoming, streaming to you via satellites. Let's take a look at that. Yeah. There we go. Here is our Starlink dish. And there's the router right there. There's the guys working down there in the quarry. Yeah. Right now we've got Fisher and Ken and Seth today. Fisher's waving. Seth is waving. But we'll go down there in just a minute. Yeah. But good stuff. Yeah. Rob Sui, how are you doing? Izzy Black, welcome. Tenguta, what's shaking? Yeah. Skippy the Klingon, how are you doing? Welcome. Yeah. Yeah, this excursion that we're on right now, going for about 3 weeks. I've got 1 week left here. And this was funded almost entirely through donations from this community. So everybody pat yourselves on the back. We are here in the Almond Formation of western Wyoming. These rocks are about 73 million years old, and they are super scientifically important. And that there's never been a dinosaur named from this formation before. So anything that we find here, anything that we dig up, very, very, very high chance, like almost a certainty, that it'll be a new genus or a new species, including our duckbill dinosaur over here. So like I said, Almond Formation. You might be familiar with the Hell Creek Formation or the Morrison Formation, these really famous rock units here in western North America. The Almond Formation is very obscure, very understudied, and that's why we're so excited to be here. And that's why just about anything we find here is going to be new, because these rocks are largely unexplored. The last time that anybody actually dug up dinosaurs here was 1937, when Barnum Brown was coming through. He's the guy who discovered Tyrannosaurus Rex. He came through here briefly in 1937, almost lost his life due to horrendous weather here. Like, tremendous thunderstorms and flash floods, and yeah, he almost got stranded and froze to death. He barely made it out alive. We've been blessed with mostly better weather than that so far. Been pretty lucky. But yeah. Super excited to be here and super excited to be able to show you this. So yeah. Anyway, good stuff. And yeah, if anybody's got any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We've got the phone right here. Yeah, what are the chances of finding a dinosaur? Just floof, it depends on where you are. If you're looking in the wrong age rocks, you will not find any dinosaurs. But the almond formation here pertains to the late Cretaceous period, almost the end of the age of dinosaurs. I'll pull out a visual aid and I'll show you. So yeah, but even if you find rocks of the right age and the right type, you're not guaranteed to find any dinosaurs. Like yesterday, I went out looking. Fisher and Nick and I went out prospecting, didn't find anything. So there's definitely a good bit of luck involved. But let me get these laminated sheets out. And let's find... Here we go. I should have done a proper time scale that's not Utah based. But anyway, pretend this is dinosaurs of Wyoming. What we're interested in here are the ages. So we're here in the Cretaceous period. So this is the age of dinosaurs. Dinosaurs first evolve here in maybe the middle Triassic there. About 230 million years ago. Probably a little bit earlier than that. But those are the earliest ones we have so far. Down there. Then you move up through the Jurassic period. Right there, Jurassic. And then the Cretaceous. So we are right here in the upper part of the Campanian stage of the Cretaceous period. So about 73 million years ago. So this is right near the end of the age of dinosaurs. And so we're about maybe 4 or 5 million years before the origin of dinosaurs like Triceratops and T-Rex. Something like that. Yeah. In fact, some of the dinosaurs that we're digging up here in the Almond Formation might well be the ancestors of those most famous of latest Cretaceous dinosaurs. So yeah. So we're at when they died. I sound almost. So the last of the non-bird dinosaurs died out 66 million years ago, when we're at 73 million years ago here. Actually, we might even be at about 74, because we're a bit lower in section here, I think. But yeah. Anyway, it's all about the rock layers. It's that context that makes things important. If you dig up a dinosaur and you didn't record where it came from or what age the rocks are, you can't do anything scientifically with that. It's scientifically worthless. It's all about the context. It's all about the data. So yeah. And Krylofa says there have been 2 duckbill dinosaurs. Discover your Edmontosaurus and Maiasaurus, not from the almond. Wikipedia might say that, but it's wrong. Yeah. If you look closely, I assume you're looking at the Wikipedia article. We're too late for Maiasaura, and we are too early for Edmontosaurus. They've been some people have tentatively referred remains from this formation to those 2 genera, but yeah, it's not the case, as we're going to demonstrate. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. And Izzy, I agree with you, yes. And needs to be edited. I mean, Milky Hoots, it will be edited at some point once we get some of these things published, but that'll probably be a few years. Yeah. Thing is, you can't really edit Wikipedia like that without proper references, and this stuff hasn't been published yet, so wait till it gets published in the scientific literature, then Wikipedia can see some edits there. Yeah. But yeah, hey the Raven, things are going well. And Just Floof says, do you use any detectors for searching what's buried under the ground? No, because they don't work. Despite what you've seen in Jurassic Park, that technology does not exist. We don't use ground-penetrating radar to find dinosaur fossils, because the fossils themselves are usually about the same density as the surrounding rock. And you've got rocks buried in places too, and being able to pick out what's rock and what's bone, even if you've got a big difference between the solidity and density of the bone and the surrounding matrix, you get other stuff mixed in there too, and you get plant roots, and you get... It's just, this is not easy stuff to dig in. it's complicated. There's a lot of noise. So yeah, we find dinosaur fossils the old-fashioned way, by walking along and looking for bits of bone that are popping up on the surface. We kind of let erosion do the first part of the digging for us. I'll demonstrate again for those of you who haven't seen yet. Here we go. So looking through here, we've got several cairns set up near some of the bone that's already been found. So here is some dinosaur bone right there on the surface. So this might look like just a regular old rock, but it is not. This is bone texture right here. So this is pretty typical of what you might see on the surface, although this is a pretty big chunk. But there is the interior of the bone. You can see how it looks very organic. Like, that's not just a regular rock. It's got that kind of trabecular sort of texture, like the inside of a modern bone. Except this one is 73 million years old. Yeah. And so this is how we discover dinosaurs in the first place, as you walk along and you stare very intently at the ground, like I did all day yesterday. And then hopefully you find some chunks of stuff like this on the surface. And the idea is, find that, and then you look around for more pieces, and you start following them up the hill. And then where they stop, that is where you should try and dig in and see if you can actually find the stuff that's still buried. And hopefully there's more there, and you might end up with some associated remains, maybe even a skeleton, maybe multiple skeletons, like we very well might have at this site. So yeah. And Floof says here, just saying I could find that if I walked there. I mean, yeah, although it usually takes a good deal of experience to be able to tell what's rock and what's bone. It took me a little while, like almost a whole field season, before I really got that. I really felt confident being able to tell what's rock and what's bone. Yeah, there's some more bone right there. You got that characteristic bony texture. And if you get really good at this kind of thing, you can tell what broad group of dinosaurs it is just based on the texture. So like, theropod dinosaurs have kind of a glassy, smooth texture on the surface of their bones. Yeah, a lot of, duckbill dinosaurs have a certain texture. Horned dinosaurs have a certain texture. So these different families of dinosaur, they diverged tens of millions of years ago, before you find their bones. So they've had a long time to kind of evolve different body shapes, and that shows up in the very texture of their bones. Yeah. And those are not footprints in the rock in front of me. No, Zevin, no. There's a lot of divots and stuff like that in a lot of these rocks. But in these like massive sandstones like this, these might be ripple marks. This is probably like a fluvial environment or maybe a delta. But yeah, you might get scour marks like this from when the sediment was being laid down. River would be passing over here and dumping sediment, but at the same time the water is kind of scouring it too. Yeah. But anywho, yeah. Yeah. Very nice. And DeVito, who, welcome. I hope you're enjoying those M&Ms. It's good to have you here. We've got 261 people watching right now. Holy cow. Again, just as a little primer before I actually take you over to the bone bed, we'll talk about this ancient environment, because we were talking about the sandstones, fluvial environment. You've got rivers that are depositing this sediment here. So, 73 million years ago, this area would have looked very, very different from how it looks today. Today, this is the high desert of Wyoming. It usually looks much less green than this, but we've had a very, very wet summer so far. And presumably lots of precipitation during the winter, too. But anyway, it's pretty arid. That was not the case back in the day, in the late Cretaceous. Because this area used to be beachfront property. Here is a nice little paleo map of North America during that time. So Wyoming is right here. I'm pointing at the east side of Wyoming right there. So let me crouch down and actually show you properly. Yeah, here we go. So we're about right there, near the town of Green River, Wyoming. And so this big mass of water that you see in the middle there is called the WIS, the Western Interior Seaway. And so this would have been a shallow, almost kind of tropical sea that inundated the middle of North America at the time. So places like North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, just flooded by this ancient seaway. And this would ebb and flow, it would expand and contract throughout the late Cretaceous. And we can actually see that in the rock records here. So like here in the Almond Formation, the Almond Formation is terrestrial, so it's like mostly rocks from the shore, you know, near land, maybe delta and lake and river and that kind of thing. But up above you get marine sediments. So this seaway expanded and everything got flooded by seawater afterward. So if we get up above the Almond Formation, we start to get into those white rocks over there. And that, if I'm correct about this, which I think I am, that is the Lewis Shale over there, which is marine. It looks kind of sandy. Anyway, the Lewis Shale overlies the Almond Formation, and that is the remains of an ancient seaway. So you might find clam fossils and stuff like that, marine invertebrates. I don't know if anybody's really worked the Lewis Shale very hard, but you might find ammonites, you might even find plesiosaurs and mosasaurs and sea turtles and stuff like that. But that's when this seaway expanded further and covered up even more of western Wyoming. But this here is the Almond Formation. This would have been largely, I was going to say dry land, but you know, land, wetland, you know, swamps and rivers and ponds and lakes and deltas. And, you know, that water-carrying sediment is what buried those dinosaurs here. You know, they lived and bred and died in this environment, and then really lucky ones might get covered by sediment and leave their bones here for us to find. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And Ice Prophet, that's very kind of you to say. Yeah. But yeah. And tidally influenced, says Hacky for Life 831. Yeah, we do actually have what might be like tidal sediments. Where you get these like kind of thin beds that alternate back and forth, like light, dark, light, dark. That might be tidal. I'm not sure. I'm not a very good geologist, honestly, or sedimentologist. I work on the dinosaurs mostly. But yeah. Anyway, good stuff. You guys want to see a jacket being made? See a dinosaur get plaster jacketed before your very eyes? Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah. How do you develop a passion for dinosaurs? How did I develop a passion for dinosaurs? I don't know. I just always had it. My parents sometimes joke that I was born with it. Yeah. Sometimes they say that I realized I wanted to be a dinosaur paleontologist the same day I realized I couldn't grow up to be a dinosaur. So pretty early on. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Oh, and Brannington, I may have missed that question. Hang on a minute. Let me scroll. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Do you have any fossil material from that little island poking out? I'm sure there is, yeah. Would that constitute as far away enough for the mainland to make insular dwarfism occur? It depends how long that would be there, Brannington. Yeah, I'm not actually familiar. I'm sure that little island has got a name. The one in central Wyoming there. Or, excuse me, that's Colorado. Central Colorado there. But I don't know what that is. Yeah. I hope I wasn't pointing in the wrong direction earlier, but this is Wyoming here. And we're about there, and so this coastline used to be closer. This is a little bit, this is 70.4 million years ago. So a little bit younger than these rocks here, but it's the closest map that I could find. So, there you go. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, and hey, Stink, how are you doing? Welcome. It's good to have you here. 5280 Andy says, let's get plastered. Yeah, let's do it. Let me show you the quarry. The guys are working. There we go. So this is the same quarry that we were at a few days ago. Just 2 days ago. It seems like so much longer. Let me put this over here. So these don't blow away. There we go. And yep, here is our dinosaur quarry. So there is Ken and Seth and Fisher over there, hard at work, digging very carefully and diligently, looking for fossil bone there. We got a lot of rain here yesterday, and probably the day before too. So yeah, there's still a lot of mud in the quarry, unfortunately, but I've dug some drainage ditches, so if we get some more rain, hopefully it'll run down there. There's a big old femur that came from right here, and that sucker was like 4 feet long, so well over a meter. That's the thigh bone of a big duckbill dinosaur. And then here is another limb bone, and this is the one that I'm going to be jacketing. So, just a minute, I'll set up the camera there, and I'll show you how that process works. Yeah. But good stuff. Oh, Dr. Terra says, any microfossils yet found? Yeah, we've got a few. Things from bits of ossified tendon to gar scales. We've got what looks to be a pretty nice turtle claw. Yeah, nothing mammalian yet, but that would be cool. Fisher's a big fan of the mammals, and yeah, we haven't found any mammals for him yet, but cross your fingers. They were living here, so yeah. Anyway, good stuff. Claire says, do we still think this is a femur, or is this a tibia? I was thinking this might be a tibia because it looks smaller than the femur that we had earlier. But, I don't know. The thing is, the tibia should be about the same length as the femur. And so, rather than this being from the same animal, this could just be a femur from a slightly smaller animal. We might have multiple individuals here. And we won't really know that until we get this thing back into the lab, probably. There's a bunch of kind of concretionary crud on top. And I'm going to leave that on there because it's actually protecting the bone. So we're going to jack it over that. But maybe tomorrow, or later today, when I'm able to flip this and carve it down, maybe we'll be able to tell what bone it is from that. If I'm able to see a big femur head or something. But, yeah, I don't know. We might not figure that out this summer. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. CSI Cretaceous. There you go, Harry Vetch. Yeah. Just Floof says, how scary is the first dig when you don't really know if there's anything and you might hit something? I mean, it's more exciting than scary. I don't know. But to each their own, you know? Your mileage may vary. I remember being kind of nervous the first time I worked a Triceratops quarry in the Hell Creek, but I think those nerves pretty quickly turn into, you know, just kind of amazement and enthusiasm, and then, hopefully, before too long, confidence. Yeah. But yeah. And Xenia, yes, in most dinosaurs, the femur is the largest bone in the body. In fact, I think it is I'm trying to think of a counterexample. Yeah, I think the femur is the biggest bone in just about every dinosaur I can think of. Yeah. I'm sure mammals are different. Right, Fisher? There's lots of mammals where the femur's not the biggest bone in the body. Whales jump to mind.
Example, yeah.
Or pinnipeds, too. Yeah. I've seen a sea lion femur. It was like this long. But yeah. Anyway, for dinosaurs, the femur is the longest bone in the body. And usually the most massive. So yeah. And Izzy says, so it could be a young dinosaur? I doubt this is a young dinosaur here. This is probably fairly mature, but I don't know. You know? A lot of dinosaurs get really big when they're fairly young, and yeah, they've got kind of an interesting growth curve like that. So you really got to cut them to figure it out. That's really the only way to do it. But yeah. Anyway, let me drink some water here and then get this set up for some jacketing. There we go. You know, redeem those hydrates right now, because it's the only time I'm going to drink water, maybe the next hour or so. There we go. All right. The forbidden burlap tea. Well, we'll see about that, Brandington. Yeah. So this is going to be interesting. I've never actually streamed while I've been jacketing a dinosaur fossil before. So it's going to be a bit of trial and error here. But I will set this like so. Put that there. I'll put this over here in the shade so it doesn't get too hot. And let's see how that looks. Now I need to put that further back. There we go, that's better. There we are. Nice. And my channel, let's see what that looks like. Ooh, loud. That actually looks really good. Nice, very nice. There we are. Good. Yeah. Anyway, good stuff. Yeah, so guys, I hope I'm not being too obnoxious with this or anything. Okay. I'm gonna take this off because plaster jacketing gets really messy, as you're about to see, everybody. Yeah. There we go. And Dirk, this is the same bone as a few days ago. Yeah, I'm gonna put this right here. And yeah, and take off my watch too. So, jacketing a dinosaur fossil can be kind of a delicate dance. There's a bunch of different steps that are involved, and you've got to make sure that you get everything together and have everything available for each step. Because once that plaster gets some water on it, it's immediately starting to set. There's a chemical reaction there, and you can't undo it. So, walk you through this process, and I'll show you how this works. Put my watch over here. So first off, what you got to do is make sure that you've got a nice trench around the bone like this, which we already do. And then you have to add a layer of separator over this. We use paper towel. So I'm going to pour some water into our plaster basin here, and then I'll show you how we apply the paper towel separator to the bone itself. Let's see. We've got plenty of water, which is excellent. There we go. That'll be good for now. It is kind of like paper mache, make away. Yes, indeed. Yeah. It's so fun. Well, for different people, it takes different lengths of time to be able to tell what's rock and what's bone. Took me a good while to really become confident about it. But, yeah, it comes with experience. Anyway, this is how we apply the separator to the bone. So I've got water in this basin. You just go like this with a soft brush, and you kind of dab it onto the surface like that, and it gets it to stick. Other kinds of separator that people use might be aluminum foil, which can get expensive. It's a lot pricier than buying lots of paper towel. Back in the olden days, They would use a lot of newspaper, which is actually kind of cool because if you ever find like a historic dinosaur quarry site, say, you know, the Sternbergs or Barnum Brown or something like that, you can often you can date it based on the dates on the newspaper, which is pretty cool. A lot of crews have gone back and done that, especially up in Canada. Darren Tankey was working on that, trying to relocate some of these old Sternberg and Barnum Brown quarries, and had a lot of success using clues like dates in scraps of newspaper that he would find in the old quarries there. They didn't always take the best notes back then, so you kind of need to do some detective work to figure out, you know, which quarry belonged to which crew and that kind of thing. So it's really important information. If you want to figure out, you know, how old these different dinosaurs are in these historical collections, like the American Museum of Natural History or the museum in Ottawa, then, yeah, you've got to go back and relocate those quarries so you can date them. Yeah. Here, I wonder if I can adjust the brightness on my phone before... That's all the way up. Shoot. Thing is, the surface gets dusty. I can't really see it. I'm not seeing what people are saying. There we go. This is not gluing to the bone. Exactly, Xenia. So this is a layer of separator between the bone itself and the surrounding rock, and the plaster-soaked strips of burlap. I'll put this maybe right here in the shade. I think that'll be ideal. Yeah. Do I think the dragon mythology came out of people inadvertently finding dinosaur fossils and not knowing what to make of it? I don't know. I think people are really imaginative, and they don't necessarily need something like that in order to come up with myths and legends. I don't know. It's a fun idea that like ancient people finding dinosaur fossils would have come up with these pictures of dragons. But the thing is, most fossils that you find in the field are really, really fragmentary. And if you're not a paleontologist, you're not going to know what you're looking at. So ancient people finding fossils, unless they're like really, really pristine and perfect, then, you know, you would never not realize that it's just a rock or something for the most part. It's not like you go and stumble across a whole Tyrannosaurus skeleton eroding out of a hillside or anything like that. So yeah, I kind of doubt that idea that, I don't know. I think maybe myths of dragons and stuff like that came first, and then maybe if somebody ever did find an unusual bone, they'd go, oh yeah, that must be this mythical creature thing. I don't necessarily think that finding fossils would have inspired those legends in the first place. Because for one thing, they actually just don't match, you know? But yeah. I wonder if I can make this bigger. Be easier to see. Settings, appearance, font size. Ooh, much better. Yeah. Although I can't see as many messages this way, but yeah. And it is in Twitch night mode, Andy, yeah. Alright, let's see here. Okay, everybody who's still here, thank you for your patience during that. Some technical difficulties. But, yeah. Alright, let's continue jacketing this femur. Or tibia, or whatever limb bone it might be. Still kind of a mystery. But yeah. Excellent. So if this kicks off another VOD or something like that, then maybe I should do a quick little intro again, almost like a station break on the radio. Welcome to Paleontologizing. My name is Danny Anduza, and I work on dinosaurs. I'm here digging up, well, right now, getting ready to plaster jacket what could very well be a new species of duckbill dinosaur. In fact, that seems more likely than it being something that we already know about. Almost certainly going to be new. Because we're digging out here in western Wyoming's Almond Formation. The rock's about 73 million years old. Very, very understudied geological formation. And there's not a single dinosaur that has been named from this time and place. Not a single dinosaur named from this formation. So, it's almost certainly going to be new. So yeah. Xenia says, tell me more about this dinosaur. It's big. And it lived in the late Cretaceous of what is today Wyoming. We don't know much else about it. If it is a duckbill dinosaur, which we had a femur from a duckbill dinosaur right there. This is probably also from a duckbill dinosaur here, most likely. But if it is from a duckbill dinosaur, a hadrosaur, this would be a large plant eater. They're pretty cool. We've got some hadrosaur emotes, actually. Somebody start throwing those Parasaurolophus into chat. You can see what that looks like. I don't know if this would be a Lambeosaurine or a Saurolophine or what kind of duckbill dinosaur. Did it have a big crazy crest on it? Did it have more of a flat head? We're not sure. We've only got limb bones from this site so far, and well, from this part of the quarry at least. Although Fisher found a jawbone just down the hill over there with some tooth sockets in it. And that could be a potential clue as to whether this is a Lambeosaurine or a Hadrosaurine or what. What kind of duckbill dinosaur? Like what subgroup? But yeah, we still don't know. Alright. Brennington says plot twist, it's a giant troodontid. That would be extraordinary. But the bone texture is not right for a theropod. We're sure that the femur that already came out of here is from a hadrosaur, so yeah, that's exactly what we'd expect to see here. Hadrosaurs are some of the most common dinosaurs in the late Cretaceous of North America like this. So it's pretty much what we would expect to see. Oh man, would I like to find a troodontid here. That would be awesome. Yeah. Lenina says, I like how Ethan said that if they discover a new troodontid, they would name it Tradoon. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if that's a dignified enough name for, a brand new troodontid from the Campanian. All right. Let's see, and Zenny wants to know, do you have to excavate the whole bone before the jacket thing? No, I mean, that's the point, is that we jacket the top of it. That's what we call a top jacket. And then you dig around the sides, and then you flip it over. So jacketing it is basically what allows you to flip it over without it falling apart or exploding. So this is a method we've been using for a long, long time as paleontologists. I think it was Othniel Charles Marsh's crews back in the 1870s that first devised this method. And it's kind of similar to like a cast that you would put onto, like if you broke your arm or your leg or something. I mean, nowadays they use more modern materials. You don't use plaster and burlap if you break your leg to make a cast, but back in the day that's what they used to do. I don't know if it was plaster and burlap specifically, but kind of like a paper mache sort of deal. You get like a powdery thing that you mix with water, and then you get some sort of a cloth sort of thing that provides tensile strength. Plaster and burlap are both pretty inexpensive materials, and they're easy to store, they're easy to acquire, and that's what most dinosaur paleontologists use when they're jacketing a fossil like this. And that's what you're seeing right now. Yeah. Yeah. And we got a bunch of chat messages going by. Let's see here. Yeah. Looks like a cute sleeping bag, says Xenia. Well, I'm glad it looks cute. It's supposed to be nice and cozy and tight around the bone. That's why I'm using the soft brush to tamp it down like this. But yeah, I guess the pattern does make it look cute, huh? There we are. Why do you tap and not just wipe really? Because when you tap like this, I'm trying to tamp it down and get it to conform to all the different nooks and crannies of the bone. So you can see I'm dipping the paintbrush in here to get some water on it. And then I'm tamping it down so it actually sticks and it conforms exactly to the shape of the bone that's underneath. Because we want this to stay on here as I put on the burlap, so the plaster soaked burlap, which is going to be our next step. So this is basically protecting the surface of the bone from the plaster, because otherwise you'd have to like chip all the plaster away from the bone, and you do not want to have to do that in the laboratory. So we're just adding a nice layer of separator here. Need some more on this side over here. And Mommy Does says, glad to see it. Everything came out okay after yesterday's tornadoes. Did you hear about those? Holy cow. Yeah. We've got a storm chaser in camp. Terrence. His brother Seth is right here right now. Yeah. They can't see you, Seth, but... but yeah. And anyway, Was he pretty excited about those yesterday, Seth?
Yeah, he was getting a kick out of it, for sure.
Nice.
Never experienced a western Wyoming tornado, he said. So
oh, yeah?
He was hoping.
That's funny. I would prefer to not have a tornado super close to camp, but it'd be a good story at least. There we go. Yeah. And guy come Threepgood says, wow, that is amazing. The patience is mind-boggling. What, this? Shoot, this is like one of the fun parts. Try just digging with, an awl and a brush through some hard sandstone and not finding any bone all day. That is, takes some patience and dedication. This is, this is thrilling by comparison. Which is why I thought it'd be a fun thing to stream today. There we go. Almost done, maybe one more piece. And I'll walk around and take a look, make sure I got everything. Yeah.
Those labels don't matter, they're all the same.
There we go. Nice. Looking pretty good here. One more piece right there. This is all covered. Good. And now again, you got to do this pretty quickly, because if you wait too long, especially in a dry environment like this will all dry out and it'll start to blow away in the wind. I have to mix my plaster, and luckily the burlap strips are already cut. So we can just jump right into that. And your urge would be to lift it out. Yeah, that's what you can't do with something like this. This is a really... Most dinosaur fossils that you find in the field like this are really delicate, and that's why you need to do this method in order to be able to get them out safely. There are exceptions. I mean, sometimes you'll get really well-preserved bone and really soft sediment, but you honestly still want to jacket those just to be safe. Yeah. All right. Our separator layer is pretty much done. Tamp this down a little bit more over here. It's starting to dry out. And now we've got some strips of burlap over here, and I like to do a little test fitting before we actually soak these and mix the plaster and everything else. So let's do that. So this can go around this side. Just trying to figure out what's our best arrangement for these. Like that. Okay, and then this one. Go like that over the top. That's kind of a weak point. Okay, good. All right. So I'm just going to roll these up, and different crews have different ideas about how best to do this. I like to soak the burlap in water first, because, I don't know, it may or may not be true, but it seems like it accepts the plaster better when you actually soak the burlap strips first. So I'm going to be doing that today. That's the method that I learned when I worked with Museum of the Rockies, and yeah, it makes sense to me. So I'm just rolling these up so they fit into the bucket a little bit better. Plaster basin. Yeah, so again, this is just run-of-the-mill burlap. I think these are like coffee bean bags that have been commandeered for this purpose. But, yeah, talk about expensive precision scientific equipment, you know? Alright. Put these in here, and we'll add some water. So I can afford to put a bunch of water in here because it'll be the same water that we use for mixing the plaster. Back with MOR, we called this making burlap tea because the water turns all brown after the burlap soaks in it. I wouldn't necessarily advise drinking it, however. There we go, that's pretty good. And then you wring them out because you don't want them soaking wet. That's good enough like that. Oh, some of the paper towels coming out. There we go. There we are. And look, doesn't that just look delicious? So for 3 big strips like this, We don't want more water than that. Let's see. A little bit more than that too. More than that also. That should be about good. All right. Can I maybe ask for somebody's help in pouring some plaster?
Okay.
Thanks, Ken. Is this the only bag that we have here, or did we have one in a trash bag also? I think we took it back to the trucks, didn't we?
I think it's just
Yeah.
one bag.
Yeah. We'll get this open. If you could just pour until I say when. Thanks. There we go. Excellent. Thanks, Ken.
Yep.
If you want to say hi to the camera, that's right there.
Hello.
Dressed like Alan Grant today.
Yeah.
I know, I'm one to talk.
Yeah.
All right. Just start pouring it in there. All right, until we get like a big island in the middle that's all dry. Let's keep it going. Nice.
Good.
Keep it coming. I'll try not to get the bag wet. All right, maybe stop right there for a minute. Thank you. There we go. All right, can I get a little bit more? Sorry. No, you're good. It's an awkward thing to hold for sure. All right, keep it coming. So I like to mix mine really thick. I know a lot of people get nervous about that, but I think the thickness gives me a lot of extra control. All right, a little bit more. That's beautiful, thank you. All right, perfect. Appreciate it, Ken.
Yep. Good.
All right. Would you mind stowing that off to the side?
Yeah.
Thanks. All right, nice. So right now I'm just working through the plaster with my fingers, trying to break up any lumps that are in there. Yeah. All right, nice. Mm-hmm. Good stuff, man. That is so much plaster. But we've got some extra strips in case I want to do another one. Start off with our extra long one here. And so you just soak the burlap in the plaster like this to kind of make almost like a homemade bandage. There we go. Get rid of a bunch of the drips. And these strings that we call Klingons sometimes because they cling on. Set that over there. Yeah. And so once you start mixing the plaster, it is like, you know, the clock is ticking. So let me make sure this gets on here. The strip is going to go around the side like this. Let me start tamping it down. There we go. Nice. Very nice. So use your hands to basically work it in. All those nooks and crannies, make sure it's nice and tight. You don't want any air bubbles underneath. You want it to be smooth and tight against the bone. There we go. All right, strip one looking good. Strip two. I'll go over the top there. Not this one. Yeah. Around the side like this. There we go. Nice. There we go, and then smooth it out. All right. So this one's going to go over the top. That over here. There's just a little bit that I missed right there, so I'll have to get another strip. There we go. Yeah. Cephalon Wolf says, I wonder if Danny's group will get to name this new dinosaur. I mean, time will tell. Yeah. Ethan's the head of this project. This is kind of his brainchild. And so, kind of comes down to what he wants to do with it. Yeah. Who knows, some of us might be authors on the paper, or we might not. It depends on a lot of things. We might want to bring in like an actual hadrosaur expert, somebody who makes it their life work to work on duckbill dinosaurs like this. Yeah, and who knows, we could end up digging this thing up and then not having any diagnostic material from this animal. Because if we don't necessarily get a skull from this critter, it, you know, might not be responsible to give it a new name. Well, I don't know, it depends. It is going to be stratigraphically unique, most likely. And so if the postcrania, all the bones behind the skull, seem to be different from every other duckbill dinosaur, yeah, maybe it would be a good idea to name it. But again, it depends on a lot of things. I got so much plaster left. May have poured too much water. Let's do another strip right here. There we go. Alright, that's looking better. There we are. Sorry if I seem neglectful of chat right now, but this is something I need to focus on. There we go. Got that air pocket right there. Make sure it's nice and tight. There we go. Let's see. Is this the same plaster as for broken limbs? I think this is like architectural plaster. I don't know if that's the same kind as for broken limbs. Do they still use plaster for broken limb bones in people? I'm not sure. But it's definitely a similar, same idea. Yeah. Depends on your insurance, says Claireburn. There you go. Alright, looking good.
Yeah, I'll get her swept. I'm not there.
Nice. Yeah. And there is an exothermic reaction as the plaster cures. Yes, indeed. Sorry, I can't see your username. It's a little dark. Yeah, that's why you never want, like, I've got some plaster in the bottom of this basin right now. You never, ever want to just, like, stick your hands down in that and keep them there. Because the heat that results from it curing will burn your flesh off if you're, if it, like, dries around your hands like a ton of plaster like that. If you have a little bit that dries, it's fine. Like, this is gonna dry on my hands and I'll be okay. But you never wanna like submerge any part of your body in a bunch of plaster as it cures. Yeah. And look how smooth it is. Yes, indeed, Ice Alan. That's the idea. The smoother it is, the easier it is to carry, so it won't have, you know, all kinds of like sharp little spiky bits that can cut you up when you're carrying it to the truck. You want to make it as smooth as possible. And smoothing it down also ensures that you're getting it into all the little nooks and crannies and everything, so it adheres really tightly. That's exactly what you want. I may have actually mixed this plaster a little too thin for my liking, so we're going to wait for this to cure a little bit, because it'll firm up when that happens, and I can use it to smooth and fill in any gaps and that kind of thing. But nice, looking good. Looking good. Very nice. Yeah, I made way too much. That's okay. Yeah, we could maybe deal with... Might as well do one more layer. Why not? Yeah, that is a big, big bone. And we don't want to skimp on the burlap, or this thing could potentially snap. The less it flexes when we try and flip it, the better. Ideally, you don't want it to flex at all, because then you can get a bad flip where everything just kind of spills out of the bottom. And that is un desastre. We do not want that. Go. Nice. Put the end of that. There we go. Nice. Very nice. It's just starting to set up. Get nice and tacky. Yeah. Excellent. Oh, this is what you want to see. Beautiful. Let's see. And this is a duckbill dinosaur. Dig DINOSAUR. Most likely something brand new, because we don't have any duckbill dinosaurs named from this formation. These animals evolve pretty quickly. They're always changing. They're evolving or going extinct. So you don't get the same cast of dinosaurs for a long time. They're always changing about once every, I don't know, it's like every million years you move up through time, and you'll get new dinosaurs, because they either go extinct or they evolve into something new. And that could be anagenesis or cladogenesis. They could be splitting, or it could be the same lineage just evolving over time. But the point is, they do not stay the same. And that's why this guy is probably something brand new. Nice. I'm just running my hands over to smooth this. Checking for any air bubbles. I want to tamp those down before it fully sets. Nice. Yeah. Oh, there's an air bubble there. There we go. Very nice. All right. I think that'll do it. Ah, now I just wait for this to dry. Yeah. Switch to ASMR. There you go, Moo. Very nice. Unknown large limb bone of a new duckbill dinosaur. Starting to come around back to the idea that it's a femur. I think we just have, because, you know, this seems so much smaller than the other femur that we got from here, which was like over, you know, it's like 4 feet long. But, yeah, I thought, no, maybe it's a tibia from the same animal. But the tibia and the femur should be about the same length, so this is probably a bone from a different individual animal. Maybe there's a number of different duckbills that all got washed into the same place here. And they're all represented in like a bone bed. Time will tell. It's either one very large animal that's spread out over about 50 feet. You know, its pieces coming out all over the hill over there. Or we've got a bone bed with multiple duckbill dinosaurs. And maybe some other critters in it too. We know that we've got pieces of turtle and pieces of fish in here. So, yeah, having multiple different kinds of dinosaur from this same quarry would not be surprising. We get that in a lot of places in the Hell Creek and in the Judith River formations that I've worked in. Get that in the Cedar Mountain Formation, which you're going to see later this summer when I'm in eastern Utah. So yeah. Catch up to shot. Yeah, so cool how the biomes change over time. Absolutely. And that's the history of life on Earth. Things are constantly changing. Yeah, Cephalomorph says, do we send away non-dinosaur remains to be cataloged and studied too? Absolutely, we collect those, yeah. And so those will go back to the same museum that the dinosaur fossils are going to in Cincinnati, Ohio. And those will also get studied. All right, I'll start to clean my hands off now that this is starting to dry. Oof. This always hurts if you've got a lot of hair like I do on your arms and wrists. wish I could say it was exfoliating or something, but maybe it is. I don't know. But yeah, this stuff definitely dries your hands out. Yeah, Northern Lights, hello to you too. Welcome, welcome. Would it be better to use gloves for plastering? No. I've tried to use gloves before and I do not like it. You lose a lot of the kind of like tactile sense. Yeah. You can't feel nearly as well, which I think is important when you're trying to, you know, identify air pockets and stuff like that, and trying to smooth things. But yeah, Fisher Don uses gloves when he jackets, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he swears by them. He uses like these long, they're like dishwashing gloves, rubber gloves, or latex gloves probably. I don't know. I do it the old-fashioned way. Oh, we've got a cool beetle under the camera. There we go. I think it's a darkling beetle. Hey, beetle buddy. Yeah. Very nice. Wyoming beetle. Probably a darkling beetle, like I said. But if we have any coleopterists at home, please tell me what kind of beetle this is. And don't say George, Paul, Ringo, or John. Because I doubt. And definitely don't say Yoko. But Danny, Yoko's my favorite beetle. There you go. So yeah, there you have it. Top jacketing a limb bone from a new duckbill dinosaur. Yeah. Pete Best. Wasn't Pete Best the drummer for the Beatles before they became the Beatles? Anyway, yeah. Oh, and thank you, Lenina, for reposting that question. From Flyer. How is it decided where a bone will go for processing? So, in order to be able to get a permit to dig up dinosaurs on, you know, public land, federal land in this case, we need to have a repository. So that's like either you're associated with a museum that you work for, or you make a deal with another museum. But the deal is these fossils will go to that museum and they will be held there in the public trust for all time. And it actually takes a lot for a museum to become a repository like that. They've got to check a lot of boxes for that. It's a serious deal. But so we've got to deal with a museum in Cincinnati, Ohio, and they are our official repository. So all of these fossils are going to go to the Cincinnati Museum. And we're not sure yet whether all of these are going to be prepped there, whether they'll be taken to the laboratory and jackets will be opened up and the fossils will be cleaned and glued and everything else, or if that's going to happen in Utah. We still got to figure this part out. But rest assured, we will have very competent people working on these because these are important vertebrate fossils. And yeah, this is almost certainly a new kind of dinosaur here. So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Go-Go-Fo says, such an amazing field to be in, literally writing history. I mean, yeah. That's, I can't disagree, I guess. It is very exciting. You know, not to brag or anything, but not to be falsely modest either. It's super exciting to be out here, and we're really, really lucky to be able to do this kind of work. Yeah, there's like a small degree of immortality, I guess, that comes with this kind of thing. People say, yeah, I was on the crew that that dug up that new species of duckbill dinosaur, or that new ceratopsian, or, you know, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And yeah, if it's Native American tribal land, there's a whole different set of rules. There's a different set of rules for state land also. You've got to like talk to the state paleontologist and then get your permits through him or her. Yeah, different kinds of land have got different rules. But we're working right now on BLM land, Bureau of Land Management, federal land. And so there's a whole set of rules that come with that. But we're going to have some BLM officials actually come out and meet us next week. In just a few days, I think. And that's going to be a lot of fun to be able to show them, hey, here's some dinosaurs that are coming off of the land that you are the stewards of. That's going to be pretty cool. And I think they're pretty excited about it too. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And Ornis says, I'd like to hope there would be a fossil linking the dinosaurs to their common ancestors. I mean, yeah, we're starting to figure that out for some of these dinosaurs in Western North America in the late Cretaceous. Starting to figure out who is the ancestor of whom, what the family trees really look like. And that's super exciting. Because it's only through really careful collecting and really careful attention paid to the rock layers and how old they are and how everything fits together that you can start to unravel this mystery of how these animals evolved. And who evolved from whom, which lineages split, which ones are just one lineage continuing to evolve through time, stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, good stuff. With that being said, I think it's probably about time for me to wrap this thing up. Because I've got another bone over here that I've got to continue to dig up, and then, yeah, the rest of the crew is probably getting a little bit tired of me yammering on and on, so let's go ahead and find somebody to raid here. Who else is live on Twitch right now? Astro Canuck is on. Yeah, man, I do not follow enough people on Twitch. Yeah, let's go raid Astro Canuck. I think that will be good. Thank you, best part of my day for sure. Well, thank you so much, Lady Lara Croft. I appreciate that. Thank you. Here we go. Thank you so much. All right. Raid. Does Astro Canuck have an asterisk, an underscore? Nope, that didn't work. Let's see. There we go. Excellent. Yeah. Good stuff. So yeah, we're going to go right into Astro Canuck, who is, I guess, talking about something astronomical, I betcha. So we're going to continue the science content here on Twitch. Thank you, everybody, so much for your attention, for your enthusiasm. Thank you for your financial support, those of you who have cheered with bits or subscribed. I appreciate that very, very much. And I'll be streaming again as soon as I can. You know, I can't guarantee that it'll be tomorrow, but yeah, because we've got a lot of work to do here. But this is important to me, and thanks for showing that it's important to you too with your viewership and your enthusiasm and your financial support. All right, I will see everybody later. You take care, and go say hello to Astro Canuck for me. All right, bye-bye, everybody. See you later.